Hello, my name is LaVerne Kimball, and I'm pleased to be your host for our schools today. Today, we're talking about online safety, and we're so pleased to have Mr. Larry Wong as our guest. And Mr. Wong is the Information Assurance and Risk Management Supervisor in the Office of the Chief Technology Officer. Welcome, Mr. Wong.
Thank you very much.
All right, that title is a mouthful.
It is a mouthful.
Okay, with regards to risk management, I guess we'll talk about some of those aspects as we proceed through the show.
Yes, ma'am.
It's so good to have you back with us today. I know 3 years ago when you joined us, we really did emphasize the importance of ensuring that home computers and computers at school were safe and protected for our students. What do you see that's been the major technological change or area of emphasis since that time?
Well, 3 years ago, primarily technology was limited to pretty much desktops and also laptop computers. So that was pretty much the limit of the technology. There were some handheld devices, but really they didn't have a lot of internet connection. Today, internet connections and extends to mobile devices as well as desktops, laptops, but you also have gaming consoles, you have e-readers, you have the smartphones, the iPads. So the mobile devices just exploded. So it's no longer just desktops and laptops, it's a whole bunch of devices now.
Okay, so would you mind elaborating then on what some of the implications are then in terms of that array of devices that are available?
In the past, I would recommend parents to keep their computing devices in a common area, so therefore they can monitor their students what they're doing. With the mobile devices, these devices can go with them anywhere. They can travel with them to school, they can travel with them on a bus, they can travel with them to the mall, wherever they go, the cell phone, the e-readers, all these devices. So therefore they have access to the internet 24/7. Anywhere, anytime, it's available. So it's hard to say keep your devices in a common area and it will monitor the students. Parent can't be with the student all the time with these mobile devices.
Okay, so clearly we're seeing then the two faces of technology where we have then all of these positive aspects, but also the negative aspects too. As you think about some of the negative aspects, what would you say are some of the most prominent ones?
Cyberbullying has become one of the really big issues that we're having within schools today. We still have a concern about predator or a stranger danger. And then the other issue that we find that with the Facebook and blog sites and social media is too much information, too much student information being shared to the world, which they need to keep safeguard.
Okay, would you mind elaborating a little on cyberbullying? Tell us more about that.
Well, cyberbullying is where, from the traditional bullying was where someone had to come to you face to face and bully you, say bad words to you, or hurt you physically, or do things to you physically. They had to be face to face. With cyberbullying, you can sit behind a computer, or now sit behind a mobile device anywhere, and then communicate hurtful things, threatening things, things that harass another person, or things that are vulgar in nature, or things that makes a person feel sad, they feel threatened and hurt. So that is cyberbullying. It's electronic harassment from a device, whether it be a computer or laptop or a mobile device, or gaming. Even today with gaming consoles, PS3s and Xbox 360s. So you have a lot of different ways where an individual can say hurtful things to a student.
Okay, so with regards to that, what are some tips and all that we need to share with parents?
Well, parents, first I need to understand what is cyberbullying, and also some of the other cyber dangers, stranger danger, and also privacy issues. But the one thing they need to get a fair understanding of the implications. So if they see a student who love to play on computers or gadgets, and all of a sudden they stop, they need to understand these danger signs. So one of the things they need to do is become more aware of how, if the students are cyberbullied, and what are the dangers, what are the signs and symptoms of it, and then by understanding more of this, then when they see their students in a tough spot, they can then take actions.
And so how can parents educate themselves about these issues?
Well, there are a lot of resources on the internet. In fact, Montgomery County Public Schools has a cyber safety site which you can go online, and we have a lot of resources available. We have brochures, we have a presentation, we have links to different videos that give information about cyber safety. We also have links to NetSmarts. NetSmarts is a very large site, has a lot of information, has grade-specific and age-specific information on how to educate students and make them more aware of their environment on the internet.
You know, I read an article, Mr. Wong, that talked about there being some very, very explicit issues that parents need to talk with their children about related to cyber safety. I hope that you wouldn't mind just kind of elaborating on some of these things. One issue that was raised is that you should ask your children, do you have a social networking website? Why would that be important to talk about?
There are a couple of issues. One thing, many of the social sites have an age requirement. So if you have a child that's underage, Facebook, for instance, has an age of 13 requirement. So if you have a student that's 12 or 11 and they have a site, then they have violated the requirements of the site. That's one. Secondly, sometimes students, when they set up these sites, they don't set up all the privacy settings. So therefore, anyone can look into their site and see perhaps how old they are, where they live, if they have phone numbers and personal information, family member information. A whole array of information can be available. And since they set it up and the parents aren't aware of it, the parents can't go back and say, okay, you didn't set this privacy setting correctly. You have too much information. You have your home phone number on there, and you shouldn't have that. You have your home address, you shouldn't have that. So a parent needs to walk alongside their student as a partner and say, okay, this is what you should share, this is what you shouldn't share, this is what you should wear, because sometimes like students wear a lot of their spirit wear, and spirit wear will then identify which school they attend. And that is oftentimes even too much information. So parents need to be aware that A, their student has a presence on the internet, and then also to help the student understand how much information is too much information to share.
You know, I really like that issue then. So in terms of saying online privacy, is that an oxymoron? Is there any such thing as having online privacy?
I think there's a way to limit how much information you put out there, but as far as privacy, I don't believe that there's really a such thing as a privacy. You can do the best you can to not expose yourself too much, but privacy is, pretty much everyone's going to have, at some point, have a presence on the internet.
And I guess it's just very important for us to impress upon children that it says World Wide Web. Therefore, information that they are putting out there is not private, as it's available to the world.
And once you hit the send button, you don't know where that information is going to be stored. You don't know if it's going to be stored somewhere, some country in the world, and who has it. And in this world, it's all about collecting data mining, and then selling that information to other people. So once you hit send, it's out there forever. Whether it be pictures, whether it be emails, whatever you post, it's posted forever.
Okay, so we need to exercise good judgment.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, another question that I saw in the article that parents should talk with children about, do you blog? So why do they need to talk about that?
Oftentimes, blogging it can be used in a very positive sense. In an educational environment, you blog about a school project or something that you're doing that's educational. That's okay. But sometimes students can blog information that's family related or personally related. Or it can be, students might use their blog sites, not necessarily they use it, but someone can respond on their blog site hateful things, which goes into the cyberbullying thing that we spoke about earlier. So we need to know what students are doing, what they're sharing, what communication they're having, who they're having that communication with. Because it could be someone posing as a student and it's not really a student, and they're trying to find information about that individual, about the student themselves, so that then less than
Okay.
it's dangerous. Things
Okay.
can happen.
Another issue that parents need to discuss is to inform children that they should cut off contact with anyone who's trying to pressure them for information. Now, this might seem obvious, but how does that pressuring work?
Well, what the process is called grooming, and it's also social engineering. Excuse me. In social engineering, especially like in game consults, like if you're playing online on a game, once the student gets involved in the game, a person may ask a question. Since they're so involved in the game, a individual might say, well, where do you live? And all of a sudden, they're not thinking about it. They say, well, I live so-and-so. And what happens is now that person's gained more information. So it can be subtle. It can be kind of a subtle suggestion or a subtle question. It's where they gain more information. Other times, someone will pop up, hi, I'm a friend of a friend of a friend, and start asking personal information. And so we need to know that when we're being asked information that concerns our individual privacy, we should not share that.
Okay, so it really is just so important not to let down your defenses.
And parents need to constantly, even though the student might feel that they're being nagged, it's repetition, repetition, repetition to share with the students to be careful online, because not everybody has their best interest.
And so when a child finds that they are being nagged, then what should they do?
Well, as far as if a child's being pursued online, and if they feel uncomfortable, they need to have an adult that they can go to, and a trusted adult that they can go to for this kind of information. So if they feel uncomfortable, they feel threatened, they feel scared or sad, they need to go to an adult. I hope that it's always the parents, but if it's not the parents should ensure that the student has an adult person they can go to, whether it be an administrator at school, a teacher, a grandparent, or older sibling. And then if they're not, also if they're concerned about some of the information that the parents are sharing, they can also come to school and ask one of the teachers or administrators about online safety issues, and we can help them with that.
Okay. And what about the issue of students not responding to instant messages, except for with people they know?
We want to make sure the students are aware that not the person behind the screen name is not always the person they think that is behind there. So therefore, it can be someone posing as a teenager when really it's an adult. So when if they're not for certain that the screen name, they know who's behind that screen name, they need to be very careful of what they share on instant messaging.
Okay. And one of the tips that just really stands out that I think is really so critical is related to not arranging face-to-face meetings.
Correct.
I mean, the obvious then is that, of course, children don't know what that could lead to.
We've had students within the county that had arranged face-to-face meetings, and it was not, the outcome was a good outcome. In the end, we were able the police got involved in that, but it was a dangerous situation, and it put the student at danger. The family was totally scared. So those face-to-face meetings can have a very detrimental outcome when it occurs. So do not ever have face-to-face meetings with someone you first met online.
You have shared some really wonderful information with us today related to online safety. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you the next time on Our Schools Today.